made-up tale. It's a total fabrication. It never happened.
It never happened. It's not real. We're live in the pre-show waiting room.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? Make sure. Okay, we're up on YouTube, up on Twitch, and up on Kick. Amazing. Let me...
Alright.
What?
Wonderful.
What? Let me ping people. Boom. You just got pinged. Get pinged.
Fingers in the chat.
Get pinged, loser.
Fuck.
Wow.
I've also slightly adjusted the titles of the streams in the past and going forward, and I've added an episode number counter. This is episode 33, apparently.
Nice. I kind of regret putting this up for book club because I got to the end of volume 2 and I'm like, oh no, I want to go to the next chapter. Damn it.
See what you've
Like
done.
not because it's a cliffhanger, but it's a very bingeable series.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
What?
He's fighting.
Dang,
Shadow's been
uh-oh.
fighting for his life to read this.
We got
okay?
a hater up in
No,
here.
no.
No,
It's good. It's just
no,
Not a hater.
he's not a hater. He's just been fighting for his life to keep track of who the fuck is doing what.
No, I understand. You're just a hater.
no. That's
True,
right.
true.
Oh,
Look,
need to
I have
update my
17
list.
pages of notes for what each character's doing.
He
What
almost-
chapter did we end?
I believe chapter 13.
Yeah, okay.
It should say on the schedule thing. That nifty-difty schedule that someone made up with his amazing graphic design skills, I'll have you know.
Oh my gosh, it says 1 through 13. Holy shit.
I know, right? Holy fuck.
Alright, I'm gonna say this now. I'm not participating in the quiz, okay? It's already a bunch of nonsense. Just understand
Bro,
this.
you've taken, like, pages of notes. You sound like you would win the quiz, okay? I'm just saying.
I'm not gonna remember any of it is the problem.
You won the
But
Dora
you have
Hidoro
the
quiz
notes.
somehow.
You have
I'm
the
not-
notes. You can just go back over them. Like,
I'm gonna forget them. It's the problem. It's gonna sting in my head.
so are the notes like are they ephemeral? Like, do they just not like?
Hey,
do they
listen.
disappear from?
It's just like
book
when
club
you're
to book club? Like,
It's just like when you're in school too, you know, you study for the quiz and then once you're done with the quiz, you forget literally everything, you know? That's just how it goes.
except for
Only in this
Shadow,
case, he's not
it's-
doing it for the quiz. So.
Yeah, it's literally like to the next class. He's already forgotten.
Well, each stream in itself is like a quiz, okay? You got to be ready for it. So,
Wow.
Each stream is its own parallel universe in my very
true.
bad interpretation of reality.
Yeah, this is just like a
Wow.
Mario speedrun, don't worry.
God fucking damn it.
You know,
So
I was
I will-
worried. Oh, you go first.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, I was worried for a bit that today was only going to be literally me and Ari and nobody else because cuz like I got messages. Justin isn't involved with the series. He's stepping out to do some other stuff in real life. Shadow was messaging me the other night saying that he wasn't sure if he wanted to be involved. Turndo and admits, I love you guys, but I can't count on whether or not you guys are going to be there that week. Okay, I just don't know sometimes. He's gone. Okay.
Speaking of
And,
Toronto,
and
he's right here.
and Anne said they want to be involved, but they can't this week. Whether or not they actually show up next week, I don't know. We'll find out. But
We'll find out.
And I'll be gone for volume 7 and 8.
okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just here today, like before today, being like, is it only gonna be me and Ari? Because we like half of us voted for this. Well, more than half because it won. So
I was the only person who didn't vote for it.
you didn't vote for it. Justin didn't vote at all because he didn't want to be involved with the next series because he already knew ahead of time he was gonna be busy with the
Which is
IRL stuff.
hilarious.
But again, I made it so that you guys couldn't see the results when you were voting because I didn't want you guys to force a tie, and you still ended up still ended up making it a tie between this and Pluto. So
Yay!
and it almost became like another tie, but luckily Amidst chose Land of the Lustrous. When he had two legendary manga that he loves in front of him, he picked this one. If you picked Pluto, there would have been another tie. And I would have said, fuck you guys, and pick something myself, because fuck democracy at that point, you know? What good is it if they can't pick one goddamn manga to read? Alright. Turando, is your audio still working? I heard you for a second there, but is it still working? Oh no, I can't hear Turando. It might mean that it's not working anymore. Oh no.
We've got 3.5 people here today.
Ba-dum,
That's
ba-dum.
more than 3 though, so we're good.
Well, Amit said he'll be here, so he's got time. Don't worry.
What the frick?
Welcome, Turando.
Welcome to Rendo.
Oh, Justin's in the Twitch chat, said sup virgins. Wow. How's it going, Justin?
Speak for yourself.
Why is there a sound alert? Hey, Wolfborg, there's a new update coming to sound alerts, but we need some permissions. Please log in at what? I don't even think I've turned on the sound
You need
alerts.
the back 3 numbers on the back of your credit card.
Oh, okay.
No, back of your mom's credit card. Hold on, not his credit card. Alright, you gave misinformation again.
Okay, hit the button to say you can do whatever you want and steal all of my shit for the sound alerts thing.
Buying crypto while
But
we're
also,
at it,
I'm pretty
you know?
sure I've turned it off for like all of our streams during Dorihidoro and just forgot to turn it back on, so I don't really think it mattered much. Sound alerts broke away. Did Justin try it while I was dealing with that? Don't worry, Justin, it's back on, and I just unmuted it for all of the 5 minutes you get with it, so enjoy.
Well, it might be a little bit longer if we have to wait for.
Okay, let's see here. We have whopping 3 subscribers, one of which is me. Wow! Thank you so much to the subscribers. I don't even think... Is Kick a thing you can even subscribe on? I know you can follow, but I don't know if they have subscribers on Kick.
They got too much of that gambling money.
Oh, damn. I would like some of that gambling money, please. Can we play slots? We can...
No, we can't.
It's just normal book club streams, but on the Kick version, it's just chat rolling.
I'll look for the the gem theme slots too.
What?
I thought we were doing the Luigi Casino version. But I guess not.
Yeah, no, we don't do that version here.
Hello?
Hey, welcome, Turno. We can hear you.
I have no idea why it doesn't work. I have like everything working. Like the microphone sensitivity is all fixed. It's just like something with Discord. Like I've checked all the drivers and everything. Wow. Okay, that was frustrating.
Yeah, I don't know. Discord is a weird place where weird things happen, and I don't understand it. But it's fine.
Such is life.
You're here, and that's all that matters. Is Blue Sky a thing where if you have a link, you cannot put an image on there instead unless you remove the embed and then add the image? Okay. It can't just do that process itself when I add an image? No? Okay. I'll just go fuck myself. That's cool. That's cool. Alright, post about it on the Blue Skies. Post about it on the Twitters. Good. I've done my social medias. I did not forget anywhere. Alright? It's happened this time. Alright? I did not forget. Okay. Alright, let's see here. Oh yeah, Justin's still talking in Twitch chat. Let's see here. Still busted. Might take a bit. Yeah, 95% share, or at least was. 95% share was Kick? Oh yeah,
I think
for
that was
the
Kick,
Kick revenue share. Okay. The sound alert's still busted. I don't know why. Wait, let me try it on my end, because I can see the sound alert buttons. What happens when I do the uwu? You can only redeem this during a stream, but I'm on a stream. What do you mean?
No, you're not, Chap. No, you're
I'm
not.
streaming
not
right now.
You're
and
not
I
streaming.
just pressed the button. What do you mean?
Not streaming.
I just pressed the button.
No, you're not streaming, Chap.
Let me try it again. I refresh the page and it still thinks I'm not streaming. Based! You
Correct
know,
machine?
honestly,
Okay, never mind. Good.
it says, we need some permissions. Please log in at that. I'm logged in it already. So what's the extra permissions they need from me? What do you want from me? What?
Need more permissions.
What would you like?
They want your social security number.
3 digits on the back.
Yeah. What else could they possibly want?
All right. Well, I'm not
Google
going to worry
search
about it
history?
too much because we don't leave that turned on during the stream anyways. So
Solve that next time on Dragon Ball Z.
oh my god. I think we're just waiting on Amidst and then we can get started. Let me well, he was chilling with us in the VC earlier when we were watching Dragon Ball, so he's not too far away.
Allegedly.
I will ping him again to remind him of the time. See, there he is. They all doubted whether or not you were going to show up. I was like, of course he's going to show up. Of course he is. And
Well, I know you
Toronto's
guys don't
gone.
like me, but that's
And Toronto's gone.
Damn.
cool. Yeah, I know you guys don't like me, but that's cool.
Damn.
Wait, no.
Were you?
You're great at this. Don't worry about it. Okay? You'll never change.
Okay. Toronto's fighting for his life. Are you winning
Yeah,
the fight?
Yes,
You're
I
on
am.
time, yeah. Doesn't matter.
All right, he's winning the fight. Good. Okay, let me.
Okay, yeah, no, I can hear myself. Sweet. Okay.
Oh, okay, good. All right. I'll pop out the Twitch chat and put it to the side of my OBS thing so I can see Justin's stuff.
Yeah. So, do you guys like Steven Universe or?
No, I
like-
don't.
Ooh,
Oh,
who's a
Well-
Steven person?
I had a whole thing about. You know what? Never mind.
You're not
Yeah,
funny.
I know. You probably had a whole thing, but
Hmm.
I disregard it. So. Yeah. Okay. Let me.
Land of the Steven.
Wow.
It's like Donkey Kong Country.
No, it's like
No.
it's like the Crystal Gems universe.
All right, are we all ready to go? It is 8 o'clock, and I got my Land of the Lustrous manga right in my hands. Right, it looks like we got everybody here who said they were going to be here. So let's get going.
Awesome.
Welcome, everybody, to another exciting, amazing, spectacular episode of the Anime Book Club here on youtube.wolfborg.com, twitch.wolfborg.com, and kick.wolfborg.com, anything.wolfborg.com, including your mom's Apple Smartwatch.com. You all understand that joke still, because it's still funny, and it's still good, and it still applies, okay? Just watch it on every single thing that you can think of. I'm there. I'm there on all of them. And we have decided on the new series. This is a brand new series for the club. And we have decided on Land of the Lustrous. It was a tie at first between this and Pluto. Luckily, in the end, we ended up deciding on Land of the Lustrous, because if they didn't, I was going to say fuck democracy and pick something myself, which probably was going to be Land of the Lustrous. So it's a good thing we have the illusion of democracy still being in charge here, okay? It's a good thing. It's a good thing, you know? So, we are here discussing volumes 1 and 2 of Land of the Lustrous. But before we start, let's introduce our guests for this series, at least for today. It may or may not change in the future. So first of all, alphabetically, we have Amidst. Introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going? If not the other times introducing myself, but I guess this time around, yeah, I'm still like mostly just do a lot of freelance stuff audio wise for various projects, but in between all those, I just read too much, and Land of the Lustrous is one of my favorites of all time, on top of Dorohedoro, so I'm really excited to get through it.
Amazing. Spectacular. Thank you so much for that. Next up, we have Arimia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Arimia. I like shonen shit. Go read visual novels.
Do you have a recommendation for us this week?
All of them.
All of what?
Mm.
All of everything?
All of visual novels. Did you not hear me?
Come
I,
on, Jeff, go play the funny penguin visual novel.
I mean, you don't typically recommend visual novels, so I didn't know if we're only recommending visual novels this week, okay? God damn.
No, I recommended.
You've
a
recommended one
novel.
visual novel before. One.
No, I think I recommended Mihoyo the last time too.
That was the one.
No. I recommended Mamiya first, then I recommended Mihoyo. I can't help it that they both have the same first character.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
sure thing.
amazing. Thank you so much for that. Next up, you have me, the host with the most. That's a classic, funny way to introduce yourself, right? I'm Chaplain, aka Wolfborg, aka new name based on the. Okay, thank you for the live studio audience. Okay, let's
Big
calm
Chap,
down though.
we're
Let's
all
calm
laughing.
down. Let's calm down. Okay, let's calm down. I still have to come up with what my name is going to be for this series. Last time I changed it to Gyozaborg. Now I have to think of what I want to name it for this series.
I'm
There's a
already
lot of
thinking
gem options to choose from with the names here, but we'll go over that when we go over the different characters and all their names and all that kind of fun stuff. For if I was gonna recommend something, it would probably be I don't know. I watched The Rolling Girls recently, and that was pretty cool. It seems like a slightly older, lesser. Well, I mean, it seems like people know it by name, but I don't know many people have actually seen it. It seemed pretty cool. I thought it was neat. I guess I would recommend that for a nice, fun, adventuring time in like this crazy Japan, like alternative Japan, where every prefecture is its own state with like super, like hyper absurd levels of the stereotypes of the regions, and it's funny and it's a fun adventure, and it's got super hero people in areas. These are words. Anyways, there you go. There's mine. Wow, amazing. Next up, we have Shadow. Introduce yourself. Oh, Shadow White.
Shadow
Sorry,
before.
I didn't realize you changed your name here. Shadow White.
Yeah, I want to do it in theme like we did last time, you know?
Nice.
Hidoro Noor.
Fucking damn it.
You sound ashamed. Like you sound bummed out. Like you know.
Well, I mean, like the beginning was good, but then afterwards it's just you know.
Damn. All right, Shadow White. Introduce yourself.
I'm showing before. I do streams on Twitch sometimes. I'm doing one tomorrow. We're doing Mega Man Zero, but Nyan picks his stage
sick.
order, and by God, it's gonna be funny. I hope.
Oh my god, it's gonna be hilarious. I'm sure it will be. Tune into that
Zero.
if you are interested in that. Mega Man Zero streams over at Shadow Man V4's channel, right? It's over at your
I'm super
channel.
rusty too, so there's gonna be that too.
I believe in you. I believe you could do it. You could do anything. And next up, we have Turando. Introduce yourself if your audio is working.
Okay. Oh, sweet. It is working.
Okay,
So I'm
good.
turned out, and I like to read.
That's all you need to do. That's all you need to
Oh,
be
yeah.
here. So I think
That's right.
being able to read is a good plus. Liking reading is also a good thing, I suppose.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah. So thank you so much for being here, and welcome everybody once again. And now it's time to begin Land of the Lustrous, Volumes 1 and 2. The author is Haruko Ichikawa. I did not do my usual work of looking up their other works ahead of time of the stream. I'm not sure if they have other works, but I know this series has been going on for a pretty long time. Started in 2012 and then ended the end of last month, so like 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, because it ended like April 25th of
Yeah,
this
it was
year.
a huge deal. Yeah, it was a huge deal. A huge hiatus. Coming back just to end it is pretty dope.
Right. So it's got 13 volumes, so we'll be here for about 7 weeks. And I got a schedule of the graphic posted in some places where you can check out what chapters are supposed to be read in which orders. We got 13 volumes, 108 chapters, and these first 2 volumes deals with the first 13 chapters, which I've seen the anime before. I feel like we should, some of us should talk about like what experience we've had with the series prior to having read it for this book club. Myself, I had seen the anime first. I think it was like a year or 2 ago when I watched it, because it was a part of one of my anime to watch for the year list. I don't remember too much about it, other than liking how it looked and some key developments that happened with Foe. I don't remember, or False, I guess. I don't remember too much of what happens with some of the other elements, but obviously I'm remembering them as I read the manga. But there's a lot to talk about with each of the characters. The big cast and all that. So I will say though, from what I do remember, and then I looked up the Wikipedia page to confirm that I was right in remembering this, these first 2 volumes are like half the anime. It's like, I want to say like 5.5 of the episodes in the anime is these first two
okay.
volumes. So once
Yeah.
we're probably by the time we're done with the next two volumes, we'll be all in manga only
Territory.
stuff. So we're gonna be in for quite a time. Okay, in for an interesting time.
Mhm.
Okay, so before we start talking about the actual two volumes, let's go around and see if anybody else has anything they want to say about what their prior experience with Land of the Lustrous might have been, whether you heard it before, or if you've seen parts of it, or whatever, or if you read those manga before. Amidst, have you been exposed to the series before?
Yeah, no, I've actually been reading it since like I want to say like the year it started publishing in the U.S., so like 2017. So because it originally started in like 2012 and then was they published here in the US in 2017, so I started reading then. And then when the anime came out, I think that was when I just finished volume 1, and then I watched the show, and then first of all, like, gorgeous show, like absolutely, like, huge feat, not only in 3D but I think in general, of a style that is so unique, even like for at that time, for like illustration. It is like something really out there. And I think on top of that, like some of my favorite artists and painters worked on that show, and it definitely showed this sort of focus on, well, without spoiling the anime, but the sort of focus on like having a show that sets up pretty much the rest of what the story is gonna be. And I think, like, yeah, that from going from there, ended up reading all the way up to the hiatus. So for English release, that'll be like volume up to volume like 6 or 7, and then pretty much doing like, like Berserk style of like the chapters per month or like per couple months that came out. But no, like, yeah, no, I definitely read up until then, and then the last thing, I haven't finished the ending because I was waiting to kind of just talk about it and kind of like discuss along a lot of these ideas for the characters.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what I know about Hoseki no Kuni so far.
All right, that's cool. I feel it. Anybody else, have they had exposure to the series before that they want to share here? Turando, Shadow, or Ari? Anyone?
Nope. I just knew I wanted to read it.
Same. Yeah, absolutely none.
I will say for me, because I already explained how I've seen the anime before, I bought this. I've been buying the series physically for the book club. I had volume 1 before for years that I probably got from Anime Boston. I can't remember, but I've had it for years. I read it, the first volume before. Always really enjoyed looking over at the cover. I always thought the cover was really nice. And having all the physicals of it next to me on my desk, I'm just like, all these fucking covers are gorgeous. I fucking love the colored art for Land of the Lustrous especially. It's just really fucking good. Okay, so I think up to volume 6 here, so I'm gonna order the rest of the volumes that are currently translated once we get closer to when we have to be reading it for the book club, probably. Right now, I think the first 12 volumes are officially released in English, at least physically. The 13th volume is not yet. Don't know if it will be by the time we get there. Probably not, because it'll be in 7 weeks. But I don't know if maybe it'll be ready
like a month and a
digitally
half.
somewhere.
Wait, they got time.
I don't know. One thing I do know is
No.
that you have to go to your local video store, I think, right now to actually read the ending, because even the official localizations of this series stopped, I think, at the last chapter of volume 12. So, you might have to take a trip to your local library or your local video store to figure out what the actual ending is in time for our discussions later on. But I'm doing my part with supporting the series as best as I can for this, okay? I'm doing my part, all right? Nobody can say otherwise, okay? Kodansha, please don't come to my house and break down my door, okay? I'm doing what I can. Please. Anyways.
I'm allowed to break down his door.
You stay away from my house, please. Shadowite, okay? I don't need this. All right.
Say, I'll pay your taxes.
Listen, I need you to help me launder my taxes or evade my taxes. Launder my money, evade my
It's
taxes.
void.
Don't worry about it, okay? That's your job. That's not my job. Anyways, there's a couple other things I wanted to mention. Actually, that part can wait. There's there's like three. I think it was three. There's like three things, to know when you're going into the series. Three like main thematic things. One is geology, of course, because the gems and the natures of them are like very integral to the story and the characters. Okay. The second is Buddhism, apparently, which I don't know or understand most of, because that's like the Lunarians kind of thing mostly. But there's also references to that, like in terms of people who are fans of the series apparently speculated for a while that the series was going to end at 108 chapters, because apparently that's a important number in Buddhism, which I didn't know, but apparently they did, and that's why they knew it was probably going to end at chapter 108, and then it did. So that's pretty neat to know. The third thing I was going to say is we all have to go out and buy PS5s if we're real fans of the series, because the meme about the hiatus that happened was, what was it? It was like a line at the end of a volume that said, or end of a chapter that said, "See you in 10,000 years," and then it also announced that the series was going on hiatus, and then the author in the afterwards said, "I got a PS5." So then the joke was that they went on hiatus to play all the PS5 games.
Even though there's none.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
That's
what I hear. So I don't know what happened there.
I mean, I guess you can play the PS4 games on the PS5, such as Mega Man Zero.
Yeah, that's obviously what the author was doing. Haruko Ichikawa loaded up Mega Man Zero. He's a big fan of Shadowite streams. They're a real fun time over there, okay? But no, yeah, so Land of the Lustrous, volumes 1 and 2. There is a lot of characters thrown at us all at once, and I will immediately say, at least myself personally, it was hard as fuck to tell who the fuck was who in the manga. In the anime, it's it's very easy in the anime because they're all colored after their gems, and they all look very different as a result. In the manga, it is hard to get used to it at first, especially when they're fighting the Lunarians, and you're just like, I can barely even comprehend what the Lunarians are supposed to be looking like structurally in this fight.
They're very out there, and I appreciate it.
It's the same with Dorohedoro, where I felt like the anime, given that the designs are forced to have a structure, that when you actually see the actual scale of everything and like how massive these Lunarians are, compared to like the gems,
the anime really brings it home with how intense these Lunarians are. When you're looking at the manga, it just looks like, a bunch of different copies of like the same thing that's like attacking them, but in like a massive cool looking structure. When it's moving too, in the CGI stuff that they were using for the anime, it really it really hammers away at how terrifying these kind of floating things are towards these gems. And so
it's like good CGI here.
Land of the Lustrous, I think, is one of my favorite series that implements CGI.
Alrighty.
Trigun Stampede, I think, is still number 1. Because that one was just really fucking smooth with how it was handling. Girls Band Cry.
Yeah, no.
We watched the first episode of Girls Band Cry the other day. That one seemed like that was doing really cool with its CGI so far. But for like the more stylistic kind of CGI, Land of the Lustrous and Trigun Stampede, I think, are like really great with their animes and how they handle CGI. I think, at least.
For me,
CGI, it's crazy, right?
Well, for me, like Land of the Lustrous was always up there, and then when I saw last year the film, the first Slam Dunk, that is where I was like, this is where we're going. And it felt like after Spider-Verse, it felt like every 3D program is trying to get to that.
Right.
And especially with movement with humans, like God. And Land of the Lustrous does such a, like you said, about the scale and like the surreal movement.
Yeah.
Like the way the metal bends with the grass and like,
It's
awesome.
one of those series where I feel like it would be really difficult for them to handle if it was purely 2D, but also like, there could also be really cool like stylistic choices done if that were the case, but it would be much more of a challenge for them to tackle if it were, probably. But with the CGI they chose for the anime, I think it was a good choice. But I don't want to focus too much on the anime's decisions. I will reference it at times to compare certain elements that I do remember, but I don't want to like sit here and just rave about how the anime looks the whole time. The main thing to take away though is that the manga, it'll take you a bit to like get used to who's supposed to be who, because many of the hairstyles look sort of similar at first until you get used to them more, and you would more so be able to tell them apart by their colors. You can sort of tell too by like how transparent some of the hairs are supposed to be for some of the characters, or like how much they shine.
I didn't even notice that.
The personalities, yeah.
It's one of those things where it might be harder to tell at first, but like as you're trying to figure out more, who is this that's about to get killed or taken or smashed? Like, what is going on with it? Like, I got used to it over time with some of them. Others, I had to like look through the scene again to be like, wait, was this person that I don't know. So we have a big cast to deal with, is why I also mentioned this. It's not like there's only a few characters to get confused with. There is a lot of characters. Okay, I have a list here that I wrote down of the names of the gems that we know of so far. Well, one of which we don't know is a gem. I don't know if we know whether or not Kongo Sensei. I don't know if they call him something different in the versions you guys read.
It's just called Sensei.
Okay.
When I was
They call him like adamant.
Oh, adamant. Yeah, I was seeing fan like references in some of the translation notes saying that adamants might be a close like example for what they were trying to go for with his name. It's supposed to, his name's like supposed to be Kongo Sensei, and it's supposed to be like gold hardness, I think, is supposed to be what it means. But it's supposed to more be, and this is
gold isn't very hard.
Well, it's supposed to be a reference to some Japanese Buddhism thing, is what the translation notes say. So I
think
I'll read it for you here because I have the translation.
State of mind.
The word Kongo literally means gold or metal hardness and has significance in Japanese Buddhism. It is related to the Sanskrit word vara, which means both diamond and thunderbolt and represents indestructibility. Kongo is a part of the word for diamond, but is also used to refer to extremely hard substances, not limited to diamonds, similar to the English word adamant. So, when I say I'm not sure if they are a diamond, like we could see that they're clearly named after stuff that might reference diamond, or gems and diamonds and stuff, but he seems like a different being than the others. And notice I keep accidentally saying he. Technically speaking, all the gems are supposed to be genderless because they're gems, so they're not supposed to. But Kongo, I mean, I don't know if I'm just crazy. He's like a big hulking dude, is how he's depicted in the manga, compared to all these other characters. So it seems to me, even with the gems being the differences that they have, that he seems structurally different. I had theorized I don't know if this will at all be even remotely true. And again, I know I did watch the anime, but I don't remember anything past developments with Fos, really. One theory that I've had is he might be a Lunarian, or related to Lunarians directly in some kind of sense. I have no idea if that will be a case. I have no clue. But that's my current going theory with him. But I'm not entirely sure. But because he's lived long enough to exist with them, so he has to be some kind of immortal being of some kind, right? Or some kind of like longer living being, I guess, because all these gems are like hundreds of years old or thousands. Something to that effect. We had a thing before that was explaining just how it works with them and how they're immortal beings, but there was like differences with it. They're immortal.
They're like a couple thousand years old. I forget. I need to, let me double check my notes real quick.
Yeah, it was something like the youngest one is like 300 years old or something like that of the crew.
That's our main character.
So we have these immortal beings who, how it's explained they're immortal is, well, obviously they're gems, but they're like evolved beings over time of the remnants of the living being. I'm trying to see if I was understanding this right. There was an explanation given for the history of how the world became how it was. Because from what I understand,
Yes.
this world used to be Earth, but then like 7 asteroids struck or something like that, or 7 like calamities happened.
5 or 6.
So, yeah, it was something, some number like that.
6.
6. Okay, so 6 like asteroids or calamities happened to where eventually over time, everything except ocean got wiped out or something, and then eventually over time the landforms started up again, but there were new beings. There were like 3 sets of newer beings, or that's at least what the explanation were given by a jellyfish person thing later on. There's the flesh, the bone, and the spirits. The flesh being the jellyfish slug thing, which is supposed to be one part of the humans, and the bones are supposed to be the gems, and the spirit, I think, is supposed to be the Lunarians. It's something to that effect, where like we've had these calamities happen, and whatever being survived is now these 3 beings that we know of in the series so far. We don't really know many other living beings that exist in this realm. Other than, I guess, plants and stuff. But most of it is just the Lustrous, which is the name of the gems, the Lunarians, and I don't know if the like snail thing has a like species name, but the snail thing / jellyfish thing.
Quick update. So the oldest one is 3,597.
Oh my god, that's a lot. That's like
I will
more
be on
than
the quiz.
that's like more than 2. It would definitely be on the quiz, don't worry. But all right, we have a lot of gems to cover. Do we want to start with talking about gems, or do we want to start about talking about what the like basic plot of what happens in these 2 volumes? Where we want to go with this? Who wants to ramble about something? Anybody want to ramble about something? Anybody?
I guess the plot.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the plot will help because there's the first 2 chapters is they're like everyone's getting introductions, but you're also seeing like what part they play in both protection and in like this community, and it actually plays into Foe's arc in these 2 chapters of their place in that community, right?
Yeah.
The most brittle. So yeah, I think I will say like rereading this, I definitely appreciate well, at least the layouts of the manga. I'm gonna kind of pull like a crazy thing with this question, but have you guys seen the movie Incantation, the horror movie?
No. I think I've heard of it, though.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so without spoiling, they also have something in regards to specifically Japanese Buddhism in regards to like, well, that movie's about online like curses, right? And it happens to be like a Japanese Buddhist cult, but there is this idea of completion, and the symbol when the Lunarians come up is an actual hand gesture during prayers, during like cantation, during cantations about completion or visiting a realm in a completed state. So
Okay.
that's what that. At first, I thought it was like a Rorschach blob, but no, it's an actual like silhouette of a hand
symbol.
gesture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought this, it's like a symbol that looks like a sunrise kind of thing at
Sunrise.
first. As well, I was just like, oh, there's a random sunrise like black like blob in the sky, and then it's like, oh, here's a million clones of this spear like wielding like creature thing. I don't even know.
Mhm.
It's hard to describe what they're supposed to be, but they have these like it looks like just a small military of something that just appears, and it's just a big
Small army of
structure.
something. I can't quite describe it, but something. You know,
Yeah, you know it's danger. Okay, you know it's danger. So that's all you
shit
need
you
to
don't
know.
mess with. All right.
Our main character, I'm gonna see if I pronounce it right. Phosphophyllite. Phosphophyllite.
Phospholite?
Phospholite.
No. There's another foe in there, so it's
There's a
phosphophyllite.
PHY.
So it's
No.
written like this.
Phospholite. Well, you
Phospholite.
know, like phosphorus.
There's another phone in
So
it.
phospholite is
So
you know,
is-
never mind.
So it's not just phospholate; it's phosphophylate technically, but the series just shortens it to phos. So it's
Mhm.
yeah. So I've looked into it a little bit, and it obviously I shouldn't have doubted it at all. Of course, this series is like weirdly attentive towards each of the gems and how its real life counterpart influences its personality and like what goes on with them like drastically. Obviously, our main character is the green haired one, or would you say green or turquoise or something, or whatever.
Turquoise.
Turquoise.
The
Jade.
turquoise haired character here on the thumbnail for the stream. She is our main character. She has a hardness of 3.5, which makes her particularly weaker than some of the other people in the group. Or I think almost all except Cinnabar is technically
I
weaker,
think
but
Simmer's
not
the one
really.
except.
Cinnabar is technically weaker, but she also has like this like toxic stuff that she can use that allows her to make up for that, I guess, in like
Yeah.
fights.
Poison. The ultimate compromised hardness.
Mercury
Oh,
or something.
Technically, yeah.
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 Yeah, it's supposed to be like Mercury. And Cinnabar's name, do they call it them Cinnabar in the version you guys read? Because their name, from what I saw, was supposed to be Shinsha in the original Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Which from what I think it was supposed to mean like dragon sand or something like that, or dragon stone, something like that.
Mhm.
Dragon Ball.
Because I remember seeing that like the teacher and Cinnabar are like supposed to be the only two characters with names that are actually like more Japanese names, and the others are just directly named after the gems. But obviously in the localization they just named her Cinnabar because that's the gems she's supposed to be based on. So,
Yeah.
Phos.
So the plot. No, just kidding.
Phos is just doesn't really have anything to do at the beginning, and so she's given the intro chapter is just kind of her exposition dumping the lore for how the world started, while also just sort of introducing us to the teacher that manages them all and like guides them all, and then they're going off to go fight some Lunarians that just suddenly showed up, and Phos is just like, give me something to do. Please, I have nothing to do. Let me fight.
Damn
And
it.
he's like, you can't fucking fight. You're a 3.5. You're just going to break to bits and not do
Most
shit.
humans like you because of your color.
Yes, the Lunarians particularly want Phos because of her color. And this is true in real life too, where phosphophylite is rare because of how easily it will like break apart too, and not just like rare in terms of like finding it, but also rare in terms of like being able to do anything with it when you get it, because it like just like this character, she will fall apart pretty easily. But meanwhile, you have characters like Cinnabar where they're just like, they don't want me because the Lunarians don't want Cinnabar because she's toxic, so they probably just don't want her because of that or whatever. From what I understand, the Lunarians are trying to gather them for, was it like for decorations or something? I thought I had heard somewhere that they were trying to capture them to use them for like furniture or some shit. I don't remember if I read that in the manga or if I just speculated that. I don't remember. But like, because they didn't want to go after they didn't want to go after Cinnabar because they're toxic, but they'll go after phosphophylite because of their color. So are they trying to use them for like furniture stuff or like decorations, or I don't quite remember what the purpose of the Lunarians attacking them is, but the Lunarians just kind of attack them every now and then, try and take them away. Some of them have been referenced to have been taken away by them in the past, but with the explanation given for how they live, they can be they'll like never die pretty much, and as long as they can find all the pieces of one of them, they can put them back together. And the inclusions inside of them, the like microorganisms that give them energy or like help them live and be living beings, will work to like bring them back to who they are. Inclusions in gems in real life is basically just any other material that's within a gem. So like if another gem is within a gem, or like if another like rock or whatever is within a gem, that's considered an inclusion. And rutile, I guess, is considered a well-known inclusion, like a needle inclusion or something like that, which is probably one of the reasons why she's a doctor for the team, But I don't exactly know. Rutao's the doctor. We got Voss being like, give me something to do, and then the teacher being like, okay, make a natural history. And she then spends, I think, several chapters being like, what the fuck is a natural history? What does that even mean? Teacher gave me this job. I don't even know what it is. Somebody tell, and I think like several people were like, you just gotta classify some stuff. And folks is like, yeah, but I want it to be a big discovery, okay? And I just want to write about the random bullshit that is on the hill around the corner. Okay, that's boring.
Cinnabar's like, there's like 2 types of sand over here, right about that, or some shit.
Yeah, she goes to talk to Cinnabar because the other gems are like, well, if you're looking for things that people don't know, talk to Cinnabar. And nobody else really talks to Cinnabar because she's toxic and has these
Also,
like,
she's
toxic
never
things
home.
that float about her. She's never home because of how toxic she is, and she doesn't really want to cause issues for them. She pushes herself away from like the rest of the crew. She works at night out of her own idea because she doesn't want to hurt the other gems. Her toxic nature will make parts of the other gems unusable at times, which is a thing that Rutiel warns Voss about. And yeah, so Cinnabar, the other bonus meme I found out, Cinnabar is actually hidden on like I think almost all of the manga covers. Every last one of them. You don't see her on the covers, but she's on them.
Hold on, this is hilarious. I gotta check this.
I know this. So in the English official release, you won't see her on it because they didn't include that little Easter egg. In the actual Japanese release, where it has like the plastic cover with like the flap that you can take off for the cover, and it continues the art. She's like in the on those corners of the art. And she apparently gets further and further away from the rest of the cast in this art as the story progresses to like symbolize, the distance she has with the rest of the crew.
That's amazing.
So I thought that was
cool.
a neat little thing to find out. I think in like some of them you can sort of kind of tell because in most of these covers it's just a group of the gems hanging out on the cover, and you'll see like some thing sticking out and you're like, well, where's that one coming from? And it's probably something related to Cinnabar, maybe,
That kind of reminds me of how if you guys know the author Haruko Murakami, they had like a specific release for the US where the designer made it so that the order the covers were, if you align them, would actually tell like the whole rat arc essentially, because the first 4 books are called the Ratman arc, and essentially, like if you got the books together, the design of it pretty much explains like the Ratman's journey. Like and like you said, like Cinnabar, he's kind of in the background for like most of the beginning, but you find out he plays like a much bigger part in like the overall story. So when you get like the covers together, like you actually push them together, they would actually like kind of tell his whole arc. There's like a bunch of photos with that, but that at least that's what that reminds me of.
Yeah, I mean, and Shadows showed in the chat the local video store version apparently has that. I didn't even realize. But yeah, the official.
There it is.
There you go.
Let me try to show it on.
That's
the
really
stream.
cool.
There you go.
Yeah, it's on one page, so it's a lot more noticeable.
You can see too where the cover is supposed to stop.
Yeah.
And where Cinnabar begins.
There it is. Silly goof.
Yeah, so it's just like just out of frame, and then like as the series goes on and the covers change, they like seem like they're getting further and further away from the crew.
Yeah,
symbolic
Finally,
in many
make sure
ways.
I can understand.
But like the Cinnabar is important because they're like kind of the drive for other things Voss does in the plot. Because at first it's like she's tasked with creating a natural history. Then in the process of doing this and meeting Cinnabar, she feels bad for Cinnabar and starts trying to like I think she literally promises to find something only she could do that will be seen as useful and will like prove that they're wanted. Because right now she's just kind of on night duty and the Lunarians don't attack them at night. So it's really just a job that she assigned herself to just be away from everybody else. Because she feels like she's not only just not very useful for them, but also that she's a detriment to them because of her toxic nature, which is supposed to be like Mercury in real life or something. So that's kind of like one of the drives for Phos is trying to figure out, one, the natural history of certain things, and two, what she can do to help Cinnabar. Cinnabar is like acting really fucking annoyed at Phos in general, but then like she'll help out the other people to like bring her back, even though like they'll also say like you shouldn't bring them back, there's no point to it, they're useless or whatever. So it's like mostly just Cinnabar helping out Phos from time to time, and then Phos being like, I'll help, I'll find something for you. And Phos has things happen to them over time, a number of things. But before we get to those things, it's like a journey of meeting each of the other gems over time. So like first up, it's them meeting with Cinnabar, but we're also introduced to like the Doctor, Rutil, Rutil. I don't know how you pronounce it. Diamond and Bort, who are both like supposed to be diamonds, but
Bort's awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
but Diamond, it feels useless in comparison to Bort, and the reason being, from what I understand, is so we're given the hardness counts for the diamonds, but gems in real life, it's hardness and toughness are like two different concepts for them.
Yeah.
Hardness being their resistance to being scratched, and this is measured by like seeing how much harder gems can scratch up softer gems, I guess. So like it's kind of like a, this is the harder gem because it can scratch the other gems more so, or something to that effect.
Yeah, I mean that's how they actually measure when they do like excavations. Like that's the measurements they use for with hardness.
Yeah. Whereas toughness is their resistance to breaking. So so we're like, technically speaking, Diamond is a 10 on the hardness scale. I believe she's actually supposed to be pretty weak on the like toughness scale, so she can break easily, which is why Bort more so handles the combat, and Diamond is like, I don't know if jealous is the right word, but more so like kind of sad in comparison, because like they don't like hate Bort or resent Bort, but they just like feel useless. Yeah, they just like feel useless in comparison and want to be as useful as.
If you feel like you're an active hindrance to the person you're with.
Right. And like Diamond's also like, again, it's hard to tell apart some of them. Diamond you can tell apart, at least in the art from the manga, because their hair is like supposed to be shinier than some of the others. So like in some of the panels with them, there will be literal like light shining off them very brightly and like blinding Phos and stuff. Bort's designed with like super duper long strands of hair that they use for, I think, both travel and combat is what it seemed like. Very versatile. Very versatile at combat. Seems to be the strongest of all of the gems at combat right now, from what we've seen. And then what other ones do we have? We had Morganite, and there was another one that was with Morganite, whose name I can't remember.
Goshenite?
Yes, Goshenite. They were both there at like the very beginning to talk with Phos at the very beginning. Jade is the president. What that means, I guess it just means they're like a manager there, just the president of the gems. Okay. And then
Mr. President.
And then Euclase is supposed to be the or Euclise, who's supposed to be like the secretary. It was like working with Jade. Yellow Diamond, Zircon, Obsidian. Obsidian is like the arm specialist that they have, which is supposed to be because like Obsidian in real life was used for a lot of weapons, like especially like Aztec weapons, I believe. Something like that.
The way it chips is super sharp, so usually it's pretty good at cutting stuff.
Yeah. Red Barrel. I watched a couple videos trying to explain. There was like a video series recommended to me at some point, and it was a gem channel that was talking about the real life gems in comparison to the Land of Lustrous characters.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Red Barrel had a video where they were trying to explain Barrel is like a family of gems, but like the other gems that are also in the Barrel family don't have Barrel in their name in this series. I forget what they are. Maybe it was. I don't think it was Neptune.
Aquamarine and Emerald.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
to
that was it. I
describe
think.
it.
Yeah, those were like some of the more popular barrels that they said, which
Mhm.
are not featured in this series yet. I don't believe, but maybe it's a character that shows up later. I don't know. You never know. But Red Barrel is there, and
Mhm.
they're like the fashion person that they have in the group.
So they constantly change their hair, apparently.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
constantly
It's
change
going to be
their
a
hair appearance.
fun thing for me to keep track of.
And that became sort of a trait where every day they have like a new hairstyle,
Yeah,
and you kind of get that in the anime, especially towards the end of the show when they start like, well, without spoiling for the people just for the manga, but where they start like designing certain characters. And no, yeah, the pretty much like the tailor of the group.
the tailor of the group. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I mean, everyone, look, okay, someone has to be the drip master, okay? I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
drip master. Yeah.
it's important. It's important if you're immortal beings, you know. The doctor is definitely very useful for the group because they're just like have to piece the gems back together from time to time. Seems like it would be a very fucking annoying job with how much these gems break and how you have to get like all of the pieces together. And if parts are gone, parts of their memories and personalities will also be gone too. Or like heavily changed to some effect. So there's pressure with that. I think one of the gems used to be one room next to Cinnabar until she like started going out at night. I think it was Benny Toit.
Yeah, that one.
Benny Toit? Yeah, that one. And
Yeah,
then there's Neptune.
that's in my notes.
Yeah. So, and then the Amethyst twins, who are named after numbers. There's 84 and 33, and that's supposed to be based on twinning as a concept with gems. I think is when they're formed with the same crystal. I forget what the word is. They're like connected in some kind of way when they're formed, and their numbers are supposed to be based on some degree angle thing of how they grow at is what they're supposed to be referenced to with their names. So Vols going on this journey to try to figure out the natural history.
Forgot Neptunite.
I don't really know what to say about Neptune 9. I remember they were there. I don't remember what they
Exist.
did.
So
I remember they existed. I don't remember anything about them.
So plot wise,
Yeah.
sort of like I'm trying to think like what would be a good place to start because while like a lot of this figuring out all the gems are really cool, I think what really stood out to me, even like rereading the first two volumes, is how they introduce like the relationship dynamics. And I think a great example is how Bortz is introduced. And how Bortz, well, first of all, you get like such an awesome silhouette of like kind of their hair being like this cape like sort of structure.
Yeah. Yep. I thought at
And
first they were kind of like a Batman kind of deal of the
yeah,
gems.
the
Batman the Rock.
yes, the Itachi of the group. No, I do find like the relationship Bortz and Diamond have as really cool. And I think sort of, well, okay, that'll end up be jumping to volume 1, but yeah, sort of showing that like what their position is, being technically like the strongest or like the most skilled fighter. So yeah, having that was really cool. And when we get to the snail, I will say I do love the anime's version of this scene a lot more. I think because they did such a great job kind of like like you actually get to see how like phosphophylite would actually like deteriorate in acid or like
Right.
in a substance.
Yep.
Um, but then also you get the character thing of like, because she's also the most valuable, like, they have to like find a way to break them out of it. But then you also get this cool dynamic of Bortz and Dia sort of like figuring out how to get them out. Yeah, it's just really cool, and you also get a hint for like stuff later on. But God, yeah, it's just really, really out there visually.
Yeah, a lot of Bort's fight scenes are just like visually awesome with like how they're presented in their fights. It's probably
Yeah.
just because the nature of there's a lot more you could do visually if they have like the super long hair for the battle like they do. That
Yeah.
helps a lot. With the other ones, it's supposed to be like more their impressive like swordsmanship or speed. Which is harder to gauge when it's manga. It's easier to see how cool they are in the anime, but it's harder when it comes to the manga. So at least in the manga terms, Bort seems like not just the strongest, but also the coolest in terms of like how their fights go.
Mhm.
So yeah, the Batman of the group, the Itachi of the group, whatever you want to call them, you know, they're
The
there.
I always describe them as, you know, in the movie The Other Guys, you
Yeah,
have Dwayne the Rock Johnson and fucking yeah, the other guy is like the top honchos of the department.
oh
That
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone kind of just lets them do their own thing because they're the problem solvers.
Right.
Let them get away with everything. So I do love the scene after with the doctor and talking about pretty much like the responsibility of preventing foes from being too far and all that. And again, like the whole concept of like they call meteors moons. So like whenever meteors like struck in the place, they call it like moons crashing.
Right.
So that was cool in the beginning. They say, yeah, it's like 6 moons have fallen onto Earth, which means it's supposed to be like the cataclysmic assumption of a meteor shower like destroying land on this planet.
Which I
Um,
also wasn't sure if that
mhm.
itself was some kind of Buddhism reference I wasn't familiar with, because that seems like some kind of like thing that would be some kind of like religious reference thing, like an apocalypse
Mhm.
kind of prediction reference or like something to that effect. I wasn't sure. I just was
Yeah,
focusing more so on the gem stuff. At least for these
yeah,
two volumes,
yeah. That's a
probably
lot. Yeah.
maybe afterwards I'll tackle some of the Buddhism stuff that they're trying to throw in here as well.
The meteor that killed dinosaurs came back.
It's
Well,
true.
it's definitely different with Japanese versus Hindu
Yeah,
Buddhism,
right.
and what I thought was really interesting is that, well, when I'm trying, let me make sure I pronounce it right. Adamant,
Yeah,
um,
aka
has the
Kongo
beads.
Sensei. Yep.
Yeah, Gongo Sensei has the beads. 108 refers to how many beads are on the necklace,
Oh,
and the concept is like, like in Catholic or Christian, like you do the whole rosemary
yep.
necklace thing. So you do all the prayers. So that's actually where that ritual comes from initially. Is you would go through the beads for each prayer. So 108 refers to completion, and that's why I was like referring to like the when the Lunarians show up and that silhouette shows up. That's the hand of what you would pray the 108 to. Um, and I think
Okay.
what's like really cool is yeah, sort of how that pretty much carries out through every like discussion Adamant has with Foss. And no, yeah, well, I'm trying again. I'm same with Doridoro. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to like
I
uh
understand.
yeah.
So I will say,
Mhm.
speaking of Kongo Sensei, I guess I'll just call him Sensei because you guys know him as Adamant or whatever. But
Mhm.
the Sensei there, uh, I I still don't fully understand what his deal is. He's like, let me go meditate. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
meditate, but like he keeps accidentally saying sleep, uh, which like confused me at first because I'm just like, what? Is it trying to hit that like he's a
Freudian
human
slip.
or something? Because like these gems don't have to sleep, from what I understand. They're all their energy. They don't even have to eat. They just get all their energy from, I forget if it's sunlight or if it's heat by itself, but they just existing allows them to like live on the earth that they do. I think it's either from sunlight or the heat from the sunlight or something to that effect. I forget which is which. But they're able to exist without having to eat, and I'm also assuming they don't have to sleep. So, but for whatever reason, the Lunarians don't attack them at night, so maybe they just either go home and chill out, or they do sleep. I don't remember.
One exception.
There's an exception. What's the exception? Oh, winter.
Didn't when Foz went to Cinnabar during night, then they attacked then?
Oh, yeah, that's because False was out, I think.
They really want him.
Because like it sounded like normally Cinnabar is not really dealing with anything at night. I mean, she's there because they want somebody to watch at night just in case, because they never know. But usually they're not.
And by
coming out
God,
at night.
just in case, come in.
But Phos is there, and then they show up to take Phos, which also depresses Cinnabar, because Cinnabar's just like, nobody wants me around, even the Lunarians don't want me. They only showed up tonight because of you. She's like hoping that they either capture her or shatter her, and then she's like not recovered or whatever, because like she pretty much just has a death wish for herself at this point in the story, because she's like, I feel useless, everybody hates me, nobody wants me, so like what the fuck is the point? I'll keep doing this stuff because, you know, I'm here with everybody else, but if they were to take me, I wouldn't be too upset, or if I were shattered and not found, I wouldn't be too upset, but yeah, I'm still gonna fight back or whatever. But Cinnabar's a complex kind of character. What's going on with them? Understandably so, with the like kind of cursed property that she's kind of stuck with and doesn't know how to properly like deal with in a way that works for everybody else in the group, other than just shutting herself away into the night, which also again makes people like Phos sad to like just think about that kind of situation. And like, you know, I think she tried at one point to talk with Sensei about it, and Sensei's like, well, it was all her idea to like do that. I've been trying to come up with something to like help her out, but you know, please give me more time, because I just don't know what to do. And like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, it sucks, but they don't really understand what best to do with her kind of situation. Everybody else is dealing with their own kind of issues in some kind of way. Some it's more so apparent than others at this point. Like Phos dealing with her situation of like not being useful enough for battle, but also being the target of the Lunarians and wanting to like make a big impact in some way, but like not knowing what to do in a way that's useful, while also just kind of being like a annoying / comedic relief character for their group. Because like I think a lot of them find her annoying and or just refer to her as 3.5 as like an insult. So
I think Vorts called her I forget, like spare or garbage, something like that.
Probably. I don't doubt it with Bortz, but you know, it's something to where they're just like, some of the characters know that she's just trying to just live her life. Others are just like, you are literally attracting them to us. Please just stay the fuck out of the way so that we can deal with them, please. And yeah, so they have the attacks happen sometimes, and usually it's just in the middle of the day. It's usually like, what they say, like once a day or something like that, or once every couple days.
Once every 3 days.
Sensei will go to sleep at times and they cannot fucking wake him up sometimes, or they just don't want to
He
wake
needs
him
that
up.
good sleep, all right?
And one of the times he goes to sleep, was it 2 Lunarian things showed up at once? One in one area and one where like they live. So like one in the hills and one where they live. And the one where they live dropped a snail shell there.
Yep.
They were able to like beat all the Lunarians that showed up pretty easily while Sensei was asleep, but the snail thing was there. And they didn't know what it was. They said, Phos, document this. You're the natural historian or whatever.
Go check it out.
Just check it out. And then she gets swallowed by the thing because it's still alive. And it immediately dissolves her. They defeat the snail thing, and they can't find Fos, but they find like a smaller
tiny
version
snail.
of the snail that was in the shell.
Very small boy.
And apparently, was it Diamond? I think it was Diamond who like believed that the snail thing was Fos because it would
Yes.
respond when they
Yeah.
were saying Fos. So they eventually got the idea that this is now Fos, and that they have been transformed into this snail thing somehow, and they don't understand why. And for a while, they believe that until they show it to Cinnabar, and Cinnabar is like, "What are you talking about? That is not Fos. That is just a random snail thing."
A
And
regular
Fos
ass
was
snail.
probably absorbed into the shell that that thing came from. So she's probably just trapped. Her bits of her are probably just trapped within the shell. So if you get the shell and break it apart, you can put her back together. Is what
You
she.
know, everyone's like, it's fine.
Which Cinnabar is like telling Diamond this in like her tsundere fashion, I guess, or whatever. Where she's like, you shouldn't put her back together, but you know, if you were thinking about it, she might be inside of the shell. You know, you shouldn't though because she's fucking annoying. But you know, if you did, you better hurry up and go do that right now. You know, because she could be in trouble. Like something to that effect was how she was acting like it, where like. She's helping, and Diamond's like saying, "Oh my god, you really do care. You're helping," and she's just like, "Shut up, leave me alone, okay?" Just so
I go spray some more poison out here. Hold on.
yeah, just a lot of like liquidy kind of toxicity stuff just floating around with her for like her stuff, and they do find the shell. They piece back together Fos from it, so she's back. Rutile puts her back together over time.
So bad.
But now she is the only one who can actually hear the small snail thing that's talking to her. So everybody thinks she's crazy
So she
now.
thinks it might just be schizophrenia for all we know.
So everybody just thinks she's crazy now because she can like talk to the snail thing and nobody else can hear it. So they just think she's either losing it or talking to herself or I don't know, doing it for attention. But
Doing the bit.
the thing the snail thing has a name. It's like something or other.
It's probably somewhere in my notes.
I don't remember there was like two snail things, and each of their names were supposed to be like Latin names.
Oh, we're going right into Latin, eh?
Ventricosus and Acleatus, I think is how you say these names. I'm reading.
Sounds
from the
about right.
book. Okay. They're supposed to be creature. The names of these two creatures come from Latin. Ventricosus, the ruler of the Admirabilis race, has a name that fittingly means corporeal or of the flesh. Aculeatus means prickly or barbed, which explains his taste in shell fashion. The reader may reasonably assume that the name Admirabilis is also Latin, and it means admirable or astonishing. So there's your little translator note for
There's a little Latin
for that
lesson for
Good. So Ventricosus is the snail thing that swallowed up Fos at first, and then is just kind of chilling with Fos in Volume 2 as like a pet. That's just kind of chilling out. And
wants to go on a date with Edmund.
yeah,
Funny.
I think they also had the hots for the sensei.
Yes, and then like also Cinnabar.
Yeah, well, because like the snail thing, by nature wants to like absorb these gems, I guess. So she's like
Consume.
Yeah, so she's hanging out with Fos. Eventually convinces them to go into the ocean, which in the anime at least, alarm bells went off in my head as soon as it started doing it. In the manga, not so much until like she's walking for a while alone in the ocean, and then it's like, wait a minute, something might be up here. I don't know if I trust it. And but no, the anime, I think I was like way more like sus about it early on.
This is a whole side.
Where it's like, oh, you want me to go into the ocean alone, just with you, very
Even
far
though
deep
everyone
into the
says
ocean?
it's very dangerous and I should not go.
Yeah, and they told me not to do it. You want me to not tell the people and just sneak out and do it myself so they can't find me? Sure, you know.
It'll be funny.
If you say so, tiny snail creature that tried to eat me and then pretended to be me.
See, when they were started talking about like going to the ocean, I'm just like, okay, you know, maybe wading in the ocean. I didn't think they
No,
actually just
no.
like dive in.
Yeah, just
I
walk
mean,
around at the
first we-
bottom of the
Small M's
ocean.
can't swim.
Yeah. So
I mean, they are rocks.
she's just like literally walking the bottom of the ocean floor with the ventricosis, the like jellyfish thing, because like once they go into the water, the snail turns into like a big jellyfish looking thing. But they're like invited to be a part of the group at first by Sensei, because technically speaking, the snail things are supposed to be of the same like kind of species as the lustrous, especially by nature of their shells that are a part of them, or it like creates and or forms through absorption the other gems. So like they're invited at first kindly by the Sensei, but once they drag Phos into the ocean and she's like running out of energy later on, once they get like very deep into the or far out into the ocean, then we find out, oh, you just got super double omega tricked and you've just been lured out into nowhere for the Lunarians to try to take you away. Luckily for Phos, the like two because like this was, she was doing it, the snail thing was doing it to try to free her brother. It was one so that she can be free, and two so that she could free her brother or sister, whatever it was. They're sibling, and they bring Phos there, and the Lunarians said we want more, and so like there's an argument started, and I guess the snail things had a change of heart, and they fight against the Lunarians, and Phos gets away in the end through really no part of her own, but through these like things helping her out, because they've realized fuck the Lunarians entirely.
You know,
because,
actually,
you know, they're kind of pieces of shit to them, and trying to alter the deal, being like, oh, you brought her? Well, we need more. So yeah. So don't fuck with the Lunarians, okay? They will try to back out of your deals. So they help Phos escape. I forget what happened to the snail things, whether they lived and got away as well, or what happened with them. I don't remember. But Phos got away and lived with, I think like a couple spikes left next to her that were a part of one of the snails. And then those were used to give her new legs.
I think it was the spine of one of them.
The spine of like the shells of one of them or something to that
Like
effect?
not the spine, but I mean like ribs. That's what it
Oh.
looked like to me, like the rib
Okay.
cage.
Okay,
It looked like
yeah.
2 of them had snapped off, and that's what False was found with.
Right. They find her with it, and Rutile is able to fashion those into legs for her, and they work with her specifically because inclusions related to the type of material it is work with the type of gem. Because normally these gems only really can make parts attached to them if they're like a part of the same classification or like grade of gem or something to that effect, and that seemed to work to put legs on her. At first she can barely walk, and then she's uncontrollably running across the entirety of the landscape, and nobody can find her, and she can't stop herself. So, or like she's just too fast, so she doesn't know where to stop.
I can't stop myself. I only have one bite. Let's go.
It was just really funny. They're like, oh, we lost her again. Where the fuck did she go this time? She couldn't even walk this time. Where did she go? And they just find her zooming around. I think it was Yellow Diamond or
Yeah, it's
something
like, okay,
that
hold on.
finds her.
I got you. Okay, I'll catch you partway through.
Yeah. So they eventually find her. Now she's able to run super fast. Super fast. And now
Nothing else changed.
now she's like, hey, I can run super fast. Does this mean I can fight now? And Sensei's like, well, maybe. You're still weak as shit, like brittle, but like maybe your speed can be useful. So we'll see how it works with partnering you up with some other people and see how you fight with them. Because you can barely even hold even our like lightest sword that we have here, or like lightest weapon. So, you know, I don't know. But also, the Sensei's also trying to keep certain historical facts secrets for them. It seems like humans, the concept of humans, which the snail things bring up to Fos when it's doing like a exposition dump of like the history as it knows of the world, and
Yeah.
it mentions humans, and Fos reports to Kongo Sensei about what it said, and it mentions the word humans, and Sensei has like his
Some real
face.
table shattering information.
Yeah, he like destroys the table in front of him, and like his face is like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Humans.
Human.
And like, I'm just like, is he like, oh no, I can't let them know about this, or does he hate humans, or what? I
It's
don't
like,
know.
what the fuck did you just say to me? That's a thing? Hold
But-
on.
But he does not want to explain it further. He's just like, all right, thanks for the report. Anyways, go team up with these things.
But that team of Amethyst. Both of them. Good luck.
Yeah, the Amethyst twins, them pairing up with the Amethyst twins is how we end the volume essentially. So we're the beginning of the next volume is where we're gonna see how that pairing works out with the new Speedy Fos and the Amethyst twins. And there's a lot that has happened, even though it's 13 volumes, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have a large cast to work with already.
17
Pretty-
characters, I think.
Yeah, something to that effect. This is a pretty big cast. All of them are pretty cool in their own ways. And some of which are probably going to be developed more later on. And we do have a lot of time for each of them to develop, which is good. I like the gems that we've had developments for so far. I feel like they're very good with how we've developed them. Some of them more minor ones that we have not developed yet. I don't know if they'll be developed too much or if they're like minor ones like Yellow Diamond or like Morganite or Neptunite. I don't know how much some of those other ones are going to get developed, but we got 13 volumes to go. Maybe they'll get developed. Maybe they'll get captured by the Lunarians and taken to the moon and we'll never see them again. I don't know. There's a whole
know,
bunch
next
of stuff to
time.
do. Not on Dragon Ball Z. Okay, we're on Land of the Lustrous. We have been watching Dragon Ball Z. We're like 180 episodes or something like that. So, what else? There was something I wanted to say too. The art with this is we've already gone over how it's kind of hard to tell at first at least who's who until you get more used to it because there's no colors. It's also hard with the Lunarians to tell what's going on in some of the fights because it's hard to grab a concept of like what is going on structurally with
What
them.
am I looking at here?
But aside from that kind of stuff, there is a lot to really like about what you're looking at with this art. Even if you don't fully understand what is going on, it all just kind of looks fucking gorgeous, I think. Yeah, I could be like, this snail thing, I don't know what the fuck's going on with its body or the place that they're in or why like certain things are like look like they're rising up. Are they underwater or not? I can't tell, but it looks amazing. It's like one of those kind of series where like you're in for a visually interesting time, even if it might be hard at times to like understand what is happening at first. And it will also play with like whether or not it wants everything to be black and then or like what with like white for like the character shading or whatever, or like white with the traditional kind of way. It like plays around with that kind of stuff, and I think that kind of stuff is pretty cool looking visually for what it's got going on. There's yeah, you go on.
Yeah, I mean, like, just to add on to that, there's like a lot of like really great things to say about the art. I think it's very interesting to see all of this in black and white because I've never seen anime, so it's pure just manga for me. But like, you can really appreciate like the design and the way it works with lighting. Because with regular manga or even like Dorohei Doro, like when they did the shading for the characters or like the line art, it's very like messy and like you still have like some shading for the shadows. But
Yep.
because these are gems and these are diamonds and whatnot, a lot of the lighting of the shadows and whatnot are just very crisp and clean, and it's just a very very visually stunning art style, right?
Right.
Just that differentiation between like light and dark. The character designs are awesome, and like the line art is very clean. So just looking at it is just very very artistic.
It's cool too to think about when you're just like, well, the series like has made itself a little easier on the artist in ways where like the world they live in is mostly just grass, and then like so they don't have
Some
to
water
do
here. There's a cave over there.
there's not too much they have to do for the backgrounds, and yet the artist still goes out of their way to do really cool stuff in the backgrounds for like how the scenes are looking in the battles. And it's like she didn't have to do that. She just kind of did it to flex, even though she like gave herself the simple structure
It's the
of
best
like how the
thing,
world
really,
looks.
honestly.
And it helps them out too, because like in the regular dialogue they could just be like, oh, this is just a white background while they talk. Like they don't have to worry too much about what the background is with it. But they still will, just to flex at times. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like the art design of all the flowers, right? We saw a lot of
Yeah.
different like flower motifs. The Lunarians were like lotuses, which is very common, like water lilies and lotuses, very affiliated with Buddhist art. The undersea scenes with a lot of coral, which, is very familiar with like gemstones like jade and agate. What was it? Cinnabar was paired with like the moonlight flower, which was a nice
Yep.
scene with Sensei and all that.
Yep.
And then even like the Lunarians, a lot of their art style looks a lot like Tibetan like Buddhist sculptures and bronzes, like both like the figures and whatnot. So it's just like even like the jellyfish, like they had like a conch shell like art style. So it's very like interesting to see all those flower motifs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Their art style is just so fluid. Like it's there's obviously not a ton of detail into how they draw like the characters, but it's all very the few lines they do use are all very purposeful, and it all just like very flows very well together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. The covers look amazing to just have next to me, and then when I'm opening it up and looking through it, I'm just like, even when it's black and white, it still looks sick. I'm just like blown away. This is why I was like, I have to buy this all physically, because I already had the first volume and I'd seen how it looked, and I'm like, I know this is a series that I'm gonna appreciate having physically for how it looks. So I was like, I had to get it. Hell yeah, visually. Big, huge W. What else do we have here? I think we went through basically all of the like plot things. Oh, couple of the relationship things between the gems, I guess. Rutile is kind of seen, she's the doctor, right? But
Yeah.
she's also, I don't know if she's considered like a mad scientist in the group or something. They usually will call her a quack doctor, or I don't know what they call it in your version, but like
Yeah, it says quack. Yeah.
they give her like attitude. So they're like not sure, and then Rutil will like threaten to like not put them back together or like break them apart for like experiments or whatever. So, they're
Foss was going through her a schizophrenic phase. She's like, I think I might want to break you, put back together again. Hold on.
I think like what was it? Jade was just having a conversation with somebody, and Rutile shows up to like hammer away at their shoulder or something. I forget if it was Jade or somebody else, but like Rutile just shows up to be like, "Oh, I was doing a hardness test on you. Okay,
I need to check your sentimental
100-year toughness check. Okay, we'll just have to do it all of a sudden. I didn't have to tell you about it when I started it, though.
Oh, not you, Foss. Though you're the weakest. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. But yeah. So like. What else happened? So, man, there was something I was about to say. Now I can't remember. I hate when that happens. How are we feeling? Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. Please go.
I mean,
please.
I had a couple of theories that I just like. I mean, as we discussed it, a lot of those things were shot down, which is very interesting. Like the grass scene, like the grassy knolls, or like because they're on land usually.
Yep.
I thought that was like I thought they were like referencing like the Sea of Sargassum and like seaweed and whatnot, but I guess that's just regular grass. But it's very interesting to see like all the gems kind of on land. I also thought like Sensei was a human. Like I didn't realize like he was an actual gem just because his figure is much more like Lunarian. He seems a lot more human, and he has like a lot more.
He's so big.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
I mean, in the
Sensei is a
manga, you
mystery,
kind of
yeah.
yeah, because obviously like the gems are smaller, but like Sensei seems much more like human size. Probably
Right.
in the anime they do it differently. But like when you see it on manga, he just looks a lot more like human-like, or he's like sculpted based on like a human figure, whereas the Lunarians are pretty much like Buddhist beings or whatever.
I think it was kind of similar in the anime too, where they made a very distinct difference between how Sensei looks compared to the others and how he looks kind of more human-ish. I think one of the main things to me is just the fact that he's like bald, whereas all the gems, most of the time, the gem they represent is represented by their hair. And so him being bald, I don't know what that's supposed to like reference other than to potentially symbolize that they're not actually a gem in some kind of way. Whether or not they're human, that's been an interesting thought in my head. But I feel like if they are human, it would be like a different kind of evolved human, I guess, because supposedly they would have lived as long, if not longer, than all of these gems. Which means they would not be like humans as we know them, but like, I guess, either an immortal or like slightly evolved form of human, maybe. But I'm still kind of leaning more towards the idea of potentially maybe they're either a Lunarian or like part Lunarian or like some kind of like in between of human and Lunarian. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's a lot of different ideas that could be going on with Sensei, but the one thing's for sure, they seem to get really, I don't really know if it's upset or angry or whatever, but they don't like hearing the word
He
human.
reacts.
There was a
Is it-
reaction. There's a visceral reaction to the word humans. I don't know if it's over humans as a concept or over whether or not these gems are going to find out some truth that he has kept from them. I will also say, okay, Sensei seems to know a lot fucking more about this world than they seem to like let them know, and yet he's tasked Foss with like creating a natural history and then has not consulted her ever since telling her to make a natural history. I think like all he's done is say, you need to study the hills first. Don't go into the ocean yet. Study the hills first.
The ocean's
was like
dangerous. Don't go there.
that's been like the biggest contribution he's done towards the natural history. Whereas at the beginning, she didn't even understand what a natural history was, and it seemed like she couldn't go and ask him what a natural history is. So I don't understand what the relationship is like there. But I mean, they all have an admiration for Sensei. I think there's literally a line where they're saying they do what they do because they all love Sensei and they want to like do what they can in service to Sensei in some kind of way. But I don't know if it's like they all see him as like a father figure type deal, or you know, if it's like he's literally their creator in some kind of way. Obviously, they see him at the very least as like a very powerful guardian type to them, where like if Lunarians do show up, they like, but he's sleeping, he like tells them to wake him up so that he can try to deal with them. And usually they like deal with it before they can wake him up, or he's
God
impossible
damn
to
it.
wake up.
It was
But,
Lawrence easier to wake him up.
you
Some
know,
nonsense.
I mean, but then they get tricked because they're like, "Oh, we left you a little gift, and it's a snail that eats something," and then they all think the snail thing left behind is Foss.
We did a little trolling.
There's layers with it, you know. Now,
Much like an onion.
So,
yep.
what do you guys think of the Lunarian weapons? Like, I think what do they use? Arrows? Like
It looks
spears?
like-
Yeah.
Arrows and then spears, but like different like degrees of like how they utilize them. Or like it was just like mostly the weapon type that they used didn't matter as much as the fact that there was like hundreds of them at once being used, I guess.
They send the entire brigade against them.
Yeah. So they have like numbers on their side with it. But I don't know if like each of them by themselves are considered a Lunarian or if the whole thing as a construct is considered a Lunarian. That's again the other thing I'm confused with.
Each individual piece of part, how does it work?
You know, I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like the gems.
Is it
where
one
if they-
entity? Is it multiple? Who knows?
I don't know. Some of the fights though, it looks like they get rid of the Lunarians very fucking quickly. I don't remember if that's the case in the anime, but you know, I mean, sometimes that's just more to demonstrate just how powerful certain characters are. Like when Sensei shows up at the beginning, and it's just like, oh, those things you were fighting, they're just gone. Don't worry. I just got rid of them. You know, like some of them are just like they could just deal with it. which it's probably not as quick in the anime. Maybe I don't remember, but yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was interesting because it's just like it's very like low tech, right? They're all using clipboards and
Yep.
papers. Like even the Lunarians, like I think they used fishing nets and whatnot. So it just seems like a much more simple web novel. Like even with the weapons, I think they're all just like swords. So
and they're
very
very
interesting.
like it's not just it being low tech. They're also like low on resources in ways because they're like saying don't waste the paper. We need the paper. Like if like so they're conscious
These are the
about
last pages on Earth.
well because they're of a different mindset of like regular living beings because they're immortal. So like the concept of death is not like a thing that like they fully understand because it's not something they really have to worry about. And this is like we see this in a scene where she's talking with Fos is talking with the squid snail thing in the water. I believe that was who they were talking to about
Yes.
like what it means to die and what like it what it feels like to die, and like they're like talking about whether or not it just means like not existing or if it just means like going to sleep for a long time or like and like you know it's just one of those things where it's like you can't even conceive of it if you like unless you are in that state or whatever. And
Then you can't talk about it because you're in that state.
right, but it's also a thing where they say it death gives meaning to life because it like makes it so that it's not just something you're like dealing with for a short time. The like scarcity of it gives it its value in terms of like the time that you're alive or like the you know how you can die, whereas the gems they technically exist as long as like the universe exists, because they can be put back together. Their consciousness might not be active the whole time, but they can technically just exist as long as the universe exists because at any point in time they can be put back together and then they're just alive again. So they don't really have to worry about that stuff even if they're taken away to the Lunarians like planet on the moon because they're just from the moon. I don't know why I said planet. If they're just taken away to the moon by the Lunarians, it's like, well, there's still a chance they could be saved far later on down the line for all they know. Like they're not just gone the moment that they go there. Although I don't know how that works when you include Cinnabar's toxicity. That seemed like it will literally ruin limbs completely. So maybe that's the one way they could die is through Cinnabar's toxins. But yeah, it's like
He's the secret weapon for Lunarians. Okay, once they get him, it's over.
But they do know that their body parts can be put back together, but the more parts of you that are missing, you will be losing like memories and like parts of your personality. So we already have Fos who has lost her legs and has 2 new legs. And I believe it's been established she's forgotten like a little bit of things, like people's names in the groups. And that's something to where it's you know starting to get into like how it changes them. And you know this concept is going to probably be used again if we have this concept of this person was able to replace their legs with more like different limbs. What will happen with their personality over time as a result of this? And what change will happen to Fos as a result of becoming a slightly different person now that she is actually like more useful in like some kind of respect, in like the respect that like she's really really fast now. How will that change her and her role in the group? Is she still going to become a like natural historian person later on, or is she just going to be focusing on combat stuff now? Is she going to be more like a surveying person or like a just a quick like check on what's going on in this area kind of person? Or you know, what's going to happen with that? And are we going to see like other limbs that get swapped out for other things later on? Or will something else happen to these legs that she has now? Like, will they be able to do something else later? These are like things where we're just like, it's both an interesting concept in terms of like, they can't die, but they can be worried about losing their, who they currently are as a result of certain body parts being swapped out or like going missing. And at a certain extent, you have to think to yourself, like, is that also like a form of death when it comes to these gems and their immortal way? Like, it's I don't know. It's one of those things where it gets kind of like more philosophical. That kind of thing is also in place when it comes to like time travel stuff, like Steins Gate. One of the Steins Gate things introduces that, where it's you have this concept of going back in time, but if you were to go back in time, but a copy of yourself is still left where you sent a copy of yourself into the past. To explain it, in Steins Gate, they have this thing called the Time Leap Machine. I'm not going to go too into the details, but the essential thing is just when they make a phone call, they can send a copy of their memories at that time into the past. And when the phone call is answered in the past, it overwrites that current person's memories in the past. And so then they could just continue on for that timeline. But one of the ideas is, well, there's a copy of you that will go into the past, but there's also a copy of you that will stay behind. So at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, like, are you still the same person when you do something like that? Like, if you are a consciousness that's been traveled into a different body and you have taken over their memories, are you still that same person, or are you now two different entities? And this kind of thing is probably going to be a concept that's played around with too, as we get more into Phos's kind of change over time with like this new body part. I think. I don't know. But
Basically, ship of Theseus, eh?
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
I really like that aspect of where where parts of their bodies are removed, they lose percentages of their memories in
Yeah.
regards to it, because it makes sense, because they're gems. They're not like, they're humanoids, but they presumably don't really have brain systems as we would, so that kind of memory system is just transitioned across their entire body. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's neat. I think all the gems in the cast are pretty neat in their own unique ways, okay? Who are our favorite gems, though? Do we have any initial favorites in the group? I feel like Phos is probably going to be a popular choice. But if you couldn't pick Phos, who would you pick as a favorite gem?
Cinnabar.
Cinnabar? Okay, we got a Cinnabar. Shadow?
Cinnabar's pretty cool.
Sports.
We got a Bort. We got a Bort enjoyer. We got two Cinnabar enjoyers. I would probably... I'd probably go with Bort, probably. But Bort's cool.
Yeah. I like them all.
Actually, no. I'm going to say Rutile. I almost forgot about Rutile.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Rutile. Rutile's mine.
A quirky doctor is usually a pretty good character.
Yeah. But we still have definitely, as the volume... From what I understand, the beginning of each volume is going to have like a double page spread of each of the cast that's currently in there, and like little blurbs about them, I think, is what I saw from some page that like said that there was differences between all of them. So we're going to be probably getting more details about some of them over time and learning about more new ones that are introduced over time. So that will be interesting to see how it progresses. So, wow. Do we have any last thoughts that we want to bring up before we wrap up for today? Any last things we want to say, theories we want to recommend, say, words? Yeah. Anything?
You think we'll get any like moon gems or something?
Moon gems?
Ooh.
Like a moon rock or something of sort?
Maybe Congo is a moon rock. Maybe that's what he is.
No, jeez, come on.
I mean, I feel like it would be cool. I feel like there's a lot of potential for like so many. I feel like this is just Land of Lustrous as a concept is just really fucking cool. I think that's just like the best way I think to put it, because like there's so much you can do if like you are like looking into gems as like OCs, and like just doing things to them. I do think it's also funny. I do want to point out, because I have volume 2 in front of me. I'm just kind of like looking at the volumes in front of me, and the tagline at the back of volume 2 is an elegant new action manga for fans of Steven Universe. It just
No.
literally says it right on the back of it. And I was like,
No.
Is it true?
No.
it's literally just because there's also gems in Steven Universe. I'm just
All right, gotcha.
I like how the world building was done. How it was very quick. It just kind of throws you in it,
yeah.
but it still feels very gradual, I guess.
Yeah.
I like the pacing.
Yeah, I was weird about that at first, where the first chapter was like just info dump while they're running to go see the Lunarians, and like it's one of those chapter ones where you're like, okay, this is a chapter one. It's kind of like when you're watching a first episode of an anime.
Every here and there.
Like the reason why people say to give something the 3-episode test or whatever is because usually the first episode is a little cheesy to like kind of set things up. So I'm like accepted at times when it's like that, but like you said, how it develops the world building stuff afterwards as well is just really like, because like establish the known history as far as they've been told and understand so far, but then you're finding out new and different things over time as it progresses, like the snail people just explaining the history that they know about it, and the like weirdness that they discover over time with like what the Lunarians are doing and what Cinnabar's like toxins like affect things, and like how they can attach things to limbs even though they're different parts of the body, and like different types of gems. There's like concepts that like they are learning about themselves over time as it progresses, and that it's in a way it's info dumped, like with the snail it's info dumped, but it's like an info dump from their perspective, and they even say that's like how they understand it. They could be wrong about some of these things, but this is how they understand.
You just
the
do a
history
bit
of these
of
things.
lying. For all know, humans may not exist.
Well, I mean, they were also tricking folks at the time, so it could have all just been a
That's
lie
the
for all we
problem.
know. It could have all been a lie.
Oh, untrustworthy narrator.
I don't know. But we had a nice little trip under the sea in Volume 2, okay? And a nice little change of scenery. I was wondering, like, how much they can do for, like, different areas in this, because, like, the main areas just seem to be grasslands, and then, like, the place they all live at. So I'm like, well, what else are we going to do for, like, where, it's, like, things are at? And they're just like, we're just going to go under the sea. This is a whole setting itself, even though it kind of also looks barren. But, it's still just a change of pace. And I don't know what they're going to do in some other cases. But again, it's still kind of fine, even though there's kind of like a limit on the places that they go to. It just still kind of works with it. And I think that's just the
Speaking of
nature. Yep.
When you like mentioned all that, it just sounds like an aquarium or like a menagerie, where it's like this could all be contained in like a pet shop, where it's like you have all the gems in like a fish tank, and then you have like a bed of like grass, and it's just a really small scale model.
This is actually all just in my rock collection. I have it like in an aquarium like tank thing.
This is your Submersible Rock collection, actually.
It's just my pet snails are in there, and I have a couple gems in there too. And I'm the Lunarians. I'm just going to like take some of the rocks out that I think, oh, this looks nice today, or like just going to feed my snails or whatever. It's just maybe the Lunarians was us all along. Maybe that's it. Maybe that was the message. Okay, the Buddhist message here. I still don't understand a lot of the Buddhism stuff, but I will look into it eventually. Okay, we have a big cast to work with. We're gonna get more casts over time, I'm sure, and we're gonna learn more about the ones that we have. So a lot of that is just what carries this, so it doesn't even matter where they're at the time, because they have a lot of stuff that they can develop just with characters alone, just with character interactions, and not even like just with like intense things happening. So I mean, that's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. I like it. I'm enjoying this start to the series. I feel like it's a strong start, and it's got me ready to buy the entire series. So
I want a box set of it.
do they have a box? Oh no, I mean
No,
they wouldn't because the last volume's not out yet. Yeah, I don't know when.
But when it is,
in like 1 or 2 years, maybe. I can only assume it might take, because like How many volumes is the last, or how many chapters? The last one's gonna be chapter 99 to 108. So that's about like 10 chapters, right?
9.
Nine chapters. So, oh yeah, there's also bonus memes. We almost forgot about the
yeah.
bonus memes. Okay, one of them was
They're
like
playing like
gaming.
cards.
They were gaming,
Gamers.
but like they were gaming. They were playing these like poker games or whatever, but they were trying to change who's on whose team to see if they could like change the tide of
Win.
it. There's not too, when I say there's bonus chapters, there's like not too much of them. It was like 2 quick pages of like 4 comma memes. I think they get Sensei in there at some point, and he's just like half awake. Like, why the fuck did you drag me here? Can I go
One
to
game
bed?
and go to sleep.
Just one game, Sensei, please. You're the only way we can win. What was the other bonus meme? Was there another bonus meme? Oh, okay, I see it. It is the fashion bonus meme, where they're trying to like give people like a bow for their hair, and like trying to like, are they trying to take photos, or I don't know if they're taking photos, but like they're just trying to like dress up some of the other gems and like Fos and like
Photography is too sophisticated for these people.
Listen, it's lost tech. Okay, they don't have.
They got paper and
They
cards.
They got paper, and they gotta keep track of how much of it they got. You know. Oh yeah, and to go underwater, they had to like put special stuff on their skin for when they're underwater because of the salt water. I'm assuming will do something to some of the
cream.
gems. It's something to that. Where like Fos kind of stole it because she was gonna.
As
go.
you do.
But she didn't want the others to know, and then they found her because they were looking for the stuff, and she took it, and then they were like, "You're trying to do what now?" And then they brought her to Sensei, and Sensei's like, "What the fuck are you trying to do?" And like every time he yells, they'll like break apart. So
some good yelling power. Okay, that's his secret weapon.
He's very powerful.
His voice.
He's very powerful with his voice, and she's also very prone to breaking apart. So, you know. All right. Any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
It's good.
It's
excited
good.
to read more.
Wow. Can you believe it? Land of Lustrous, just a week away. Thank you so much.
I'm going to take a very slow pace on my end. I usually do like the day before. I'm just going to read like 2 chapters every day just so like I can do my method.
I just read this like a week prior. I just like read it like I think like 2 days after we decided on this, because I was just like
interested.
Well, 1, yes, I was interested, and 2, because I was like, there's probably going to be a lot for me to process with this, because there's a big cast that gets introduced immediately, and they're all based on real gems, and it's all in certain ways scientifically accurate, or like scientifically inspirational, I should say. And as the anime science
almost scientifically accurate.
as the anime science YouTuber here, occasionally from like the few videos I've done of that, like this is a cool concept with these gems that could potentially become one of those videos in the future, but I don't really know. It would have to be if I come up with a concept that's more than just, whoa, this gem's accurate to real life because it has the same hardness. It's like that's just going to be that for all of them. So it'd have to be more detailed than that in some kind of way. So I don't know, but I really liked this on that kind of level, but also I was just like, I'm going to want to look into some of the gem terminology, like geology kind of concepts behind some of these things too, to see if like any of those references are like important with this. But for the most part, some of that is just also just kind of explained by them too. So it's not like too bad. The Buddhism stuff though, that's stuff that's probably going to be more so complicated if I look into that kind of stuff more. Because there's like some notes for those, but a lot of that it seems like it's more just hinted at and not explained in some kind of way. So, Amiss, you weren't here earlier. I think you were deafened or whatever. But favorite gem, if you could not pick Fos, who would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess
at this point, at least, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely, but it's between Bortz and man, it's crazy. No, I really like the idea with the Morganite, but we'll get to that. But yeah, Bortz for sure. That was number one. Then I think practically it'll probably be Obsidian because there's like more you can do.
Oh yeah.
Like you can actually make tools with it.
Well, I was talking more the characters, but yeah.
Oh, in terms of like, no, this is about me. What I can do in that world as an OC. No.
Oh yeah, you also weren't here. I read the back of Volume 2, the physical one, and it says an elegant new action manga for fans of Steven Universe. I'm just waiting for Volume 3.
Let's go.
I'm just waiting for Volume 3 to say for fans of Minecraft.
Yo.
For the Gem Knight players in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yo, they made Steve real. Yo, it's crazy.
Oh my god.
Fucking Lapis Lazuli burn comes back after all these years.
Lapis Lazuli, that's right. Pink diamond, white diamond.
Damn.
Obsidian. I mean, Obsidian is in Steven Universe. And then you got your amethyst. You got your freaking.
Listen, we can list gems all day. Okay, let's.
We talk about the minerals all we want. Okay.
I almost went through this whole stream without not referencing Breaking Bad. I felt like when I was looking into the geology stuff, I felt like Hank from Breaking Bad, where you're just like getting obsessed with minerals for no reason. All of a sudden, you're just like,
well, no,
they're not rocks, Marie. They're minerals, and you're doing.
Well, I mean, there's the real reason, which is really sad, but it is funny. Yeah.
What's the real reason?
He was traumatized after he saw his friends get blown up on the border because of cartel.
Yeah, he just did not want to actively work, so he was more just
PTSD,
using it as like a PTSD like coping thing. Yeah.
So I'm like that with Steven Universe, It's just...
basically, Steven Universe is basically the PTSD coping mechanism for Land of the Lustrous fans.
Yeah, my version was Mega Man, so sorry.
I mean,
so
hang
sorry.
on. Technically,
I mean, he's Rockman, right? So I mean, that's the type of
Yeah, I mean, technically, Steven Universe came out first, so in a way, Land of the Lustrous.
You saying it's a ripoff?
No, I'm saying that both are rock solid. Am I right?
Wow. Hilarious. Thank you for that. And thank you so much, everybody, for coming to join us and discuss volumes 1 and 2 of Land of the Lustrous. That will probably wrap up what we have for this week. And we will be here again next week to discuss volumes 3 and 4, which will be chapters 14 to 28. So read up on your chapters and be here next week at the same time, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us on youtube.wolfborg.com, twitch.wolfborg.com, and kick.wolfborg.com. And if you want to either be involved with these discussions or chat with us in the text chat about what's going on in the volumes you're reading, go to discord.wolfborg.com to join the channel and chat with us in the Anime Book Club chat. And you can grab the roll and get pinged when we do stuff. And thank you so much to all of our guests that we have here, as usual. Now I got to come up with
thank you.
A name for myself in the server now based on this series, because I did that with Dorihidoro, so I don't know if it'll be.
I like that being a recurring thing,
Rockman.
It's fun. It's
Rockman. I've done that.
Yeah, but now you chose Shadow Eye. I mean, you can always change it. It's a free country. I'll let you, but I'm just gonna say it's minerals, okay, not rocks. But
minerals.
Pearl enjoyer.
Mineral enjoyer.
Garnet enthusiast.
Oh wow. All right. We will see you all next week. We'll see you all next time. Thursday, 8 o'clock. Bye stream. Bye
Goodbye.
stream. Bye.
Goodbye.
Stream.